Alex Johnston is a highly regarded education reformist here in Connecticut, but he's stepping down as CEO of ConnCan. Here to talk to you. You've been around for a long time, so this is big news to a lot of folks. Why are you stepping down? You've been one of the major advocates here for eliminating the achievement gap. What's going on?
Well, I am moving on at the end of this year, and I'm still very engaged in the work that we're doing, and I'm not leaving the space of education reform. I'm still putting my plans together, but I think the country has an opportunity. This is a critical time for the country to get it right on education and education reform. And
so why leave? You're a key guy.
Well,
why are you going?
I am intending to be as effective as ever in helping make change in Connecticut, and also I hope to be trying to leverage resources around the country as part of that struggle as well.
Biggest frustration as a CEO person you really been a major advocate for the achievement gap. What has been frustrating for you from a state standpoint?
Well, I mean, here we are. We have the largest achievement gap in the country in Connecticut. That was true when ConnCan got going, and it is unfortunately still true today. And, you know, we've made some real strides in the last few years in getting policies enacted. We've seen some legislative leadership step up to do that. But I have to say to you that we have not had the executive branch leadership that we have needed and that other states have had on this issue. So we now have a new governor. As we just had that conversation about the budget.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hopefully now.
Is he walking the walk?
Well, he has had to focus on getting this budget deal done.
Right.
And, you know,
do you trust him? Do you trust him to follow through on?
He has said very clearly, you know, in his budget address, you know, he spent a lot of time talking about what he intends to do on education. And he really also, at that same time, made it clear budget comes first. Then we're going to focus on education.
But meanwhile, a lot of towns now are threatening teacher layoffs, something you're very concerned about, right?
This is a huge issue. And I think this is why we've been very concerned that even in focusing on getting the state out of fiscal crisis, precisely for that reason, we have to take action this year on this question of layoffs, where, you know, we have last in, first out. And we've got, you know...
What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with it is that we've got documented, you know, folks who've gone through the evaluation process now, who are on these improvement plans, who have had an opportunity to grieve, they've had due process. Everyone knows they're not effective. And those people are going to stay, and we're going to be laying off Teachers of the Year and outstanding younger teachers from across the state. That's not right. It's not right for kids. It's why this state is stuck where it is.
So it's a matter of playing ball or having the union play ball with the state. I mean, here's a state also, you mentioned, the widest gap in America, yet could not qualify or compete for federal dollars to reduce the achievement gap. That to me was an extraordinary story last year.
That was incredibly frustrating, I think. And the reality, again, is that was a competition that was driven by the executive branch. And, you know, the legislature worked to pass some legislation, but we didn't have the leadership that we needed there. We have an opportunity now to get it right moving forward. You know, Governor Malloy has been clear. He wants to fix school finance once and for all, coming back with a concrete plan to do that next year. We got to push hard on that. We've got to push hard on ending last in, first out layoffs, on fixing teacher evaluation. You know, we've made some steps there, but we're nowhere near.
Do you want to reward teachers, good teachers who are doing well? Should they get paid more? Should they get more bonuses? Should they be compensated more than those who are not?
We want to have a compensation system that's connected to what actually motivates people. And I think the question of merit pay is people think a little simplistically about that, but absolutely compensation needs to be connected to people's performance.
So let's take a look at your exit plan. As you leave here now, let's take a look at what you would do. 4 points if you wanted to eliminate the achievement gap. One is bold leadership from the governor. You're saying it's critical. The governor has got to take this thing by the horns and go with it.
And
right?
I mean, that starts with a commissioner. You know, we don't have a commissioner right now. We need to get a commissioner in. We have a new state board. We can have a new commissioner, a new governor. That's the team that you need to drive this. They partner with the legislature, but they need to be focused on this issue.
Now, the money issue, the funds follow the money. A lot of people are confused by that. Just explain that real. What does that mean with the money follows the kid? Simplify it for me.
Bottom line, we are not funding kids right now based on their learning needs at the schools they actually attend. And so we are double funding some kids. Are we
talking vouchers here? That if I'm paying $5,000 for a kid in Windsor, take that $5,000 and that kid can go anywhere he wants with that $5,000?
We're talking about within the public school system, having in effect open enrollment statewide. Any district that has space and wants to take kids can take them and gets paid for those kids, and likewise parents have that choice. Under that type of system, you don't have the Tanya McCourt situation. You don't have a mom from one community putting their kids in school in another and risking jail time.
What a fascinating story. The McCourt Bridgeport story, right? She's in Norwalk, in Bridgeport,
Yep.
sends her kid to Norwalk illegally, then gets arrested. And we all know this goes on across the state. Yep. First time I've seen a parent arrested for this. I think a major story. It puts the exclamation point on the achievement gap. 15 seconds. That story's huge.
Well, that I think, look, and the details of that, the facts are still coming out there.
Right.
But one thing that's very clear in that is that parents, will go to great lengths to make sure their child has the right educational opportunity.
And poor parents get demonized for not caring, and they do care.
If we have a school finance system that works, that won't happen.
All right, we got to go. Alex Johnston, thank you for your time. All right, folks, we'll see us again. Thanks to all our guests, Rob Simmons, Bilal Saku, Chris Keating, Alex Johnson. Don't forget to catch our show 24/7 at ctnow.com/stand and check out exclusive behind-the-scenes video of the show. Friend us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. For the good folks here at Fox, Connecticut, I'm Stan Simpson. We'll see you next week. The Morning News is next.